I'm feeling a little bit under the weather once again, as it's only been 2 days since I caught this sickness, but let's not let that stop us from ranking these potential candidates. Again, we'll be ranking them S tier to F, so S the best of the best to F the worst of the worst. We've got a lot of big names to cover, from AOC to Bernie, and a lot of other options to throw in the mix. So let's grab your popcorn, hit the like button, and let's get into it. Alright, so here we go. AOC is a very popular figure with a strong following, especially among younger voters. She's got energy, charisma, and progressive ideals. But her stance on defund the police earlier in her career would not help her at all. Oh, wait, let's get rid of this, because I know who everyone on this list is. Yeah, but while she'd be bringing excitement to the race, I'm not fully convinced she's ready for the presidency, so I will give her a C. I think she could win a primary, but not a general election. Amy Klobuchar, I'm sorry, I'm butchering that name, I know. Ah, shit. She's pragmatic, she is experienced, and a reputation for things she's done in Senate. The problem is she lacks the star power and excitement that many Republican candidates have. She's not a bad choice, but not the most thrilling either, so I would also rank her a C, right next to AOC. Andy Beshear is the governor of Kentucky, and a lot of people think just because he is the, governor of a very red state, doesn't mean he can win a general election. His calm, moderate approach makes him a steady leader, but he doesn't exactly inspire the same level of enthusiasm some other candidates on this list have. Still, he would bring a broader appeal, which that means I would give him a B. How do I get rid of this? I don't know, I guess we'll have to go with it. Alright, Bernie Sanders. This is a little ridiculous, but Bernie Sanders is a legend in progressive circles, having emerged a whole movement in 2016 and 2020, but let's be real. He's now a bit too old and has already lost 2 primaries. While his ideas are appealing to many, and I would have even voted for him if he won the Democratic primaries, I'm gonna give Bernie a D, because he is certainly not the best, and he's certainly not the worst. He's got a strong following, but the age factor and previous losses make it hard to see him as a viable candidate for 2028. Alright, Chris Murphy is a solid senator, especially when it comes to gun control and foreign policy, but he does not have the national recognition or charisma that would put him at the forefront of a presidential race. He's competent, but lacking star power. I'd give him a C. Cory Booker is charismatic, personable, and a strong communication skills, which make him likable. However, while he has great potential, he's struggled to gain traction in past presidential races. His platform doesn't seem to stand out enough compared to other candidates on this list, and he hasn't built a strong enough following to truly compete to someone like J.D. Vance. Despite being a great public speaker and advocate for issues like criminal justice reform, I'd give him a B, because he's not the best of the best, and he's not the worst of the worst. Dean Phillips is relatively unknown to the broader public. While he served as a member of Congress with a solid reputation, he lacks the national visibility needed to compete in a crowded Democratic field and primary. His focus on centrist policies might appeal to some, but not to a lot, so because of that, I would give him a C. Elizabeth Warren. While she has a strong voice for progressiveness and known for her policy expertise, her 2020 run showed that her brand of policy-focused leadership didn't connect well with most voters. Many see her as too caught up in policy details, while she could be a turnoff for voters seeking more of a visionary or charismatic leader. I'd rank her a D. Just like Bernie, I think age is an issue, and I think she should stay as a senator. Gavin Newsom. I initially saw Gavin Newsom as a strong contender and my favorite for the DNC 2028 Democratic nomination. He's young, charismatic, and made a name for himself with progressive policies in California. However, his response to devastating LA wildfires in January 2025, last month, has seriously damaged his credibility. Many voters and critics have pointed to his handling of the crisis as ineffective and weak, especially with the high-profile disaster at the Palisades. This really ruined his chances of becoming the nominee, which means I will give him a D. He just does not have the capability anymore. Well, yeah, he has potential. He's not an F, really, but I feel like a lot of his potential is gone now. Gretchen Whitmer has a very strong standout leader, particularly with her handling of Michigan's COVID-19 response and her overall progressive stance on many issues. She has the right mix of pragmatism, and progressive values. And her reputation as a tough, no-nonsense politician has earned her respect. I think she's just shy of being a top-tier pick. I'd rank her A. She's one of my personal favorites, but I feel like she still has some work to do that just doesn't make her S tier. Next, Jamal Bowman. Jamal Bowman has been making waves in the Democratic Party as a progressive force. He's known for his strong stance on issues like climate change, education reform, and healthcare, and he represents a new generation of leadership. His energy and ability to speak directly to younger voters are definitely assets, but the relative inexperience at the national level and more radical stances may make it difficult for him to broaden his appeal. I would rank him a C. Jared Polis, the governor of Colorado, is a high competent leader with a strong track record of progressive governance. He has been a prominent of legalizing marijuana, advancing LGBTQ rights, and ensuring strong environmental policies. His calm demeanor and focus on pragmatic solutions could make him an appealing candidate to moderate Democrats and independents. Overall, I would place him a B. He's got the skills and credentials. I'm gonna butcher it, but J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, has made a name for himself as a successful businessman and progressive leader. Under his leadership in Illinois has been seen as significant advancements in healthcare, education, and economic growth. He has been vocal about strong justice issues, social justice issues, pushing for stronger environmental policies, and expanding access to services for underdeserved. I think he still has the ability to run in the 2028 primaries, but I would place him at A, right next to Gretchen Whitmer. Jeff Jackson, the North Carolina state senator, is someone who has gained some attention, but personally, I'm not a fan of his candidacy. While he's been praised for his work on issues like education, reform, and voting rights, he often comes across as a bit too polished and corporate for many people like me. He's still fairly young and has some time to build his profile, but as of now, he's just not impressive enough to earn a high ranking. Given his lack of bold leadership and that feeling of being another safe bet candidate and a little bit too manufactured, I'm going to put him in C category. Actually, I think he's a little bit better, so I put him in B. Joaquin Castro is someone I really can't get behind. And honestly, I'm putting him at F. While he's done some work in Congress, especially around issues like immigration, it feels like he's been riding the coattails of his twin brother, Julian, for a bit of his career. To me, he lacks the bold leadership many needs. So with all that said, Joaquin Castro just doesn't impress me, and he's firmly sitting at an F. John Fetterman. This one's a little more complicated. John Fetterman's situation is one that's tough to navigate, and I have to put him at a D. While he's been a prominent figure in Pennsylvania, particularly for his progressive stances, it feels like he's increasingly disconnected from the core of the Democratic Party. There's a growing perception that he may be aligned with the values of the Republican Party, especially considering some of his comments about the Democratic establishment. John Ossoff is one of the rising stars in the Democratic Party, and he has a lot of potential, but right now I'd place him at B. With his win in the 2021 Georgia Senate runoff, which was a huge victory for Democrats, it shows that he can win swing states. He is smart, well-spoken, and a fresh perspective, but he doesn't quite have the political muscle or deep connections that some other candidates have. Josh Shapiro. Okay. He is my personal favorite, and I believe he is one of the S-tier candidates for the 2028 Democratic primary. Here's why. He stands out so much, and I think he's the one to challenge the strong Republicans like J.D. Vance. Shapiro has a tough track record in the fact he could win the big swing state like Pennsylvania. He's shown incredible political acumen and managed to win purple states, so I think Shapiro is great. Josh Stein, the current Attorney General of North Carolina, is an interesting candidate. He's been effective in pushing progressive policies, especially on issues like consumer protection and voting rights. However, his chances for the 2028 Democratic primaries are more on the moderate side. While Stein could appeal to centrist voters, I would place him at C tier. Julian Castro has been a rising star in the Democratic Party, particularly after his run for president in 2020 and his role as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under Obama. However, despite his strong policy knowledge and diverse background, I just don't see him as a strong candidate for 2028. His previous presidential run didn't generate enough traction or delegates. While he has a lot to offer, it feels like he doesn't have a national correlation or the moment to secure a serious spot in the primaries. I'd place him in D tier. Alright, this one's kind of ridiculous, but Hillary Clinton running again in 2028 is something I just can't see happening. She herself said in 2020 that she wouldn't run again, and honestly, it's hard to imagine the Democratic Party putting her forward. After the losses in 2016 and the struggles with Kamala Harris in 2024. The party is unlikely to push another female candidate after those defeats, especially considering that Joe Biden, a male candidate, was the only one to actually beat Donald Trump in 2020. At this point, I think it would be a bit of a joke for Hillary to run again, and frankly, she'll be way too old by 2028 to mount a serious campaign. So for me, Hillary goes straight into F tier. Kamala Harris was definitely a strong candidate in 2024, but her campaign took a huge hit when Joe Biden dropped out in July. She ended up losing in a landslide to Donald Trump, and it's unfortunate, but she has the experience and name recognition. I think America isn't just ready for a female president at the moment. After Hillary's loss in 2016 and Kamala's defeat in 2024, it seems like the country might shy away from putting another woman at the top of the ticket for a while. I think she was a better candidate than Hillary, so I would put her in D. I think Hillary was just chosen because she was the former First Lady. Kathy Hochul is the governor of New York and has had a solid track record as state's leader. However, she doesn't really stand out on the national stage in terms of strong presidential material. For these reasons, I would rank her in D tier. I just don't have enough to say about her, and I don't think she would be a great candidate. Just so you can see the full list so far and how that's shaping up. She's competent, but she doesn't have the wow factor to take her to the top in 2028. Laura Kelly is the governor of Kansas, and while she's been successful in leading a red state with a more moderate approach, she does not have the national recognition or star power needed for a presidential run to get traction. She's been able to work across party lines in Kansas, which is impressive, but that doesn't necessarily translate to the kind of fiery appeal or momentum that can capture the attention of Democratic base nationally. I would place her in D tier. Mark Kelly, Arizona senator, has had a lot of potential. He's a former astronaut with military background, which gives him a unique profile. His ability to win swing states like Arizona is impressive, and his moderate approach could appeal to the broad spectrum of voters. However, he's still relatively new to the political kind of establishment. I would give him B. Mary Pelota made history as the first Alaska Native woman elected to Congress, which is a huge achievement. She has a unique background that could appeal to voters looking for diversity and fresh perspectives. However, her experience is still limited to the national stage. It's hard to see her as a serious contender for the 2028 presidential race. I'd rank her a C tier. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Michael Bennet is the seasoned politician who has a steady track record as the U.S. Senator from Colorado. He's known for his moderate, pragmatic approach and focus on issues like education and economic reform. While he's highly respected within certain circles, he lacks the star power or widespread appeal needed to rally a national campaign. I would rank him a D tier. Nina Turner is a former Ohio State senator and a prominent progressive within the Democratic Party. She's known for her unapologetic stance on the issues like universal health care and income inequality. However, her polarizing rhetoric and extreme left-wing positions make her hard to elect. I would rank her in F tier. For him, I would just give him a C tier. Pete Buttigieg, the current Secretary of Transportation, has a lot of potential as a candidate. He's highly intelligent, well-spoken, and charismatic, and he managed to win over a lot of people during the 2020 primary. His youth experience and ability to connect with voters are assets, however, are going against a stronger Republican opponent, especially with the likelihood of Republicans focusing heavily on his LGBTQ+ identity, would make it hard for him to run for the presidency. His potential future might be more secure in a state-level race like Michigan's governor or Senate, where he could potentially make a bigger impact. I would give him a B tier, because I think he's a relatively strong candidate. Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, has made strides in state-level leadership. pushing for progressive policies on issues like climate change, minimum wage, and gun control. He's a strong contender in terms of governance. While Murphy could bring a solid platform to the primaries, he lacks wide recognition. I'd rank him a B tier. Raphael Warnock has certainly made a name for himself as senator from Georgia. With a strong leadership and a focus on social justice, he's charismatic, well-spoken, and would likely get strong base of support. I would give him a A ranking because of how he has been so far, but he is not the best on this list. Ro Khanna is a very interesting figure in the Democratic Party. Known for his progressive stance and tech-savvy approach, he is very popular among younger voters. As of now, I would give him a C tier, because he is just not that popular yet. Roy Cooper is a solid candidate and competent candidate. He is the governor... He has done well in North Carolina. He's known for his ability to navigate through political environments and has a strong record of balancing progressive policies. I would give him C tier. Ruben Gallego is a congressman from Arizona, and while he's built a strong reputation in the House, especially on issues like military and veteran affairs, his national profile is still relatively limited. His leadership style hasn't been proven to the kind of bold or inspiring force needed to lead a country. Plus, his position behind the scenes, a kind of politician which might not resonate well on a primary. I would give him D tier. Amy Baldwin, a U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, is a solid legislator with a strong track record on progressive issues like healthcare, LGBTQ+ rights, and environmental protection. However, when it comes to her running for president, her profile isn't very well known. While she could perform well in certain regions, I don't see her generating the kind of widespread attention she needs. I am putting her in C tier. I feel like she would be a good vice president or cabinet role. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, served as Kamala Harris's running mate in 2024. While his presence on the ticket didn't make or break her campaign, he certainly helped secure Minnesota in the 2024 election for his down-to-earth, folksy approach, especially in the Midwest. However, when it comes to running a primary by himself in 2028 or even 2032, I don't think Walz has the national profile or kind of excitement needed to rally voters. He could struggle against more high-profile, charismatic candidates and may not be able to effectively run a presidential campaign. I would give him C tier. Actually, yeah, I would give him B tier. Wes Moore is one of the better candidates on this list. He has taken comparisons to Barack Obama. Well, I don't think that is true. I think it's just because he's a person of color, they compare him to Barack Obama. But I think he is a very strong candidate. As for him, I would say he goes into the S tier right next to Josh Shapiro. Thank you, everybody, for watching this, and I hope you don't come for me because of my nose, it's just really stuffy right now. But this is my full ranking. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.